Westeros!
And welcome to our Morning Throners podcast.
I'm Nelson.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Kyle.
And we're the fucking Morning Throners. And welcome back to another episode of your favorite Song of Ice and Fire podcast. We are your Morning Throners, and we got Arya 10 on deck. Gentlemen, how you doing?
Pretty good. How are you doing,
How are you
Jeff?
doing, Jeffrey? Yeah.
I'm great. Sleeping a ton. Ton of time to myself.
Jeff had his new baby. For anyone who's not following in the Discord, Jeff finally had his baby. Welcome
Baby's
to the
here.
world, Jeffrey Jr.
Nope, not the
Not
name,
quite.
but
Close
we'll
enough.
go with that. We'll go with that for the public. Yeah, no, everything's good. Everything's good.
The second of his name. What did Sam say? I forget.
On his
Second
name
of
day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to buy him a Game of Thrones shirt. All right. What do you think of this chapter, Kyle?
I mean, so this one, I don't want to say it made me feel stupid, but it was like it kind of put in. I feel like last time we talked about where the Hound and Arya were, and this one definitely made it. Was like, oh yeah, I guess I was wrong about their proximity to the towers or the twins rather.
Yeah, you basically in the last chapter you had mentioned. I think that you thought that the last one ended pretty much where this one starts.
Yeah,
I think I even said in the spoiler section of that one to Jeff, like, did Kyle read like the first paragraph of the next chapter? Because that would explain maybe why he was thinking that, because it's basically. So I didn't think it was that big of a deal because you were right. You were just
no,
one
I think I was
paragraph
actually
chapter.
wrong. So what I was saying was they were already like way closer than this. So.
Yeah, I mean, but I guess my point is once you read one paragraph further, then you're right. So
Yeah,
it didn't
who
really
cares,
matter either way.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah, synopsis is they get to the twins. Arya and the Hound get to the
They
twins.
showed up.
yeah, because they don't even really talk to anybody super important. They don't really do anything super important just yet.
Nope.
We won't get into that here, but like they're rolling up to the twins in a stolen wagon, like in a new wagon for us, like to see, like and it's like two shitty horses. The Hound's like dressed like a farmer, incognito. Doesn't want to be the Hound.
Even though he has a huge scarred face, he's able to hide
That's why
it.
he's got a hood, right? And it's raining.
Yeah, and for those that didn't read along, this is one of the shortest chapters, probably of the whole book, if not the whole series. I don't know how many actual pages it was in the book. For me on the iPad, it was like 7.
Yeah,
like,
it was
mine are
6.
short.
6 with 2
Something like
short
that.
ones, something like that. 5 with 2 like half pages. So
Yeah.
definitely a quick read.
Yeah, probably.
That's how a
quick
chapter
podcast,
should
so.
be. That's how a chapter should be.
Well, like we said, not much happens, but let's jump into it. It starts off kind of like what we said. They have acquired this, kind of like how I was saying a little bit earlier. That's kind of how it starts off, giving us some of this info, what's happened since. They've acquired a wain and 2 drays.
Is a wain just like a cart? That's just like the cart that they're
Half
riding
wagon,
in?
it seemed like, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Only 2 wheels is how
Yeah.
I think of a wain, but that might be wrong.
That's what I'm picturing as well. Arya's the only one sitting on it, right?
Well, I think the Hound's on it with her.
Oh, right.
And then I did Google dray, which is the type of horse, and dray is just like a big, strong horse. So it's like plow horses. Like I guess not like a racing horse, like a workhorse. But Stranger is tied to the back, walking along, but he doesn't have any of his. I don't know if they've ever mentioned it, but he says he's not wearing armor now, Stranger. So I'm guessing he normally is wearing some sort of cool horse armor. But yeah, he doesn't have that on now because again, they're like I said, they're playing the part of a farmer.
He's got to just look like a Clydesdale compared to like these
I don't know,
other
though, 'cause
horses, right? Or just like
the way Nelson just explained to Dre, it makes him seem like those aren't bad horses either up front. It's just he's probably, the sports car to the tractor.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I don't know horses enough. I think it's more like they're just built for different things. Because when I looked
Well,
up
that's what I'm
Dray,
saying.
what came up was like a picture of a Clydesdale type horse, like a big ass, strong,
maybe-
but not going to win any races.
maybe Stranger's not as big.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He's
Like
more
a
a sports car,
Smarty
like
Jones
sleek,
looking cat.
Yeah, exactly.
powerful, good at maneuvering.
Like strong enough to like carry the Hound in battle, but also
Yeah.
fast enough to like be good in jousts, right, and stuff. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they're kind of in disguise. The Hound is wearing mail and boiled leather, but underneath this farmer outfit that has a hood up. And Arya always looks like a boy, but she does note that she looks even more like a boy than usual because she got another
She got a fresh
Yorn
cut.
style, Yorn style dagger haircut from
She
the
got
Hound.
tightened up on the sides. Got her ears lowered.
It's fucking super cuts round 2, right?
She said she's like basically bald on one side, which I think is just kind of funny because the Hound is too, right? hair doesn't grow on half of the hound's face. So she's like posing as his daughter, as his son, not like anyone's actually looking at their faces, because like Jeff said earlier, if anybody actually looked at the hound's face, they would know immediately who this guy is. But I think it's just kind of funny that they probably do look more like father and son than normal, just because they're both bald on the side of their head.
Yeah. I mean, it's one thing to be like burned and disfigured, but it's like he's actually met a lot of these people too. Like, it's not like these are strangers, right?
Yeah, he's been front and center at like tournaments too, or been standing next to the king if they happen to be lucky enough to be there. So
yeah, he's pretty high profile.
So three outriders come up on them, right? One is, I guess, in charge of the other two. Arya doesn't recognize their sigil at first.
Yep, pitchfork.
She never gets it, right?
She doesn't recognize it ever. Yep. But the hound
I
says
thought
who
when
it is
the
later
hound
on.
says the name, is that the name of the sigil then?
Yeah.
High. House High. Yeah.
House High.
Yeah, but it's not something she's familiar with.
Yeah, she's not familiar with it.
Yep.
The hound does say later he knows this guy, Donald High, and it is one of the guys that, I don't know if you guys remember, in the cat chapter, last chapter, they have the meeting with Walter. She goes up to a room, and then she wants to go meet with the maester, and on the way, she runs into a bunch of Freys and, like, married into the Freys. This guy's one of the guys there.
One of the 50. So they're like, basically, what do you got? What are you guys doing here? What's your business coming to the twins? And they're like, oh, we're dropping off salt pork for the wedding, which just sounds awful.
Salt pork and pig's feet. Yeah, like...
I'd actually be willing to try pig's feet.
Later, one of the guys even says, like, this is not...
It's not like, wedding feast.
Worthy, for, like, a king. Like, take this to the men. So, like, yeah, I mean... But the hound just robbed the first guy he saw that. So, it's not like he has his choice as the supermarket.
But, like, so salt pork, that's kind of like ham, right?
To me, like, salt beef is beef jerky.
I just think of it all as, like, jerky. Yeah, it's just, tough as shit. Well, like, block of dried meat.
Gotcha.
But, like, eating raw pork, I feel like, isn't the same as eating raw meat. Like, can you just jerkyify pork? I don't know if it works like that. But that's how I think of it, too, Jeff. It's just kind of like pork jerky.
I mean, isn't jerky usually smoked?
Yeah, jerky is smoked.
I don't think it's raw. It's cured.
Like, when I make deer jerky, we just dehydrate it.
Yeah, it's cured, right?
There's no heat involved. We just dehydrate it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's basically what smoking, I believe, takes out the moisture too. It's all the same process.
Yeah, but like cooking,
like it's
like
not
heat is different.
It's not direct heat when you make jerky ever. I don't think.
Yeah, but I guess what I'm saying is, I know eating raw beef isn't as like big of a deal as eating raw pork. Like people just eat like raw, like Liver King, right? He's just eating like livers and stuff. I don't think you can just like
eat a raw.
He's a fraud.
Let's start.
I know.
But yeah, you can eat like beef tartare, which is just.
But I don't think you can eat pork tartare. Like I think you'll get fucked up from that.
Or chicken tartare.
That's why I didn't and I've never heard of pork jerky, right? I've heard of gator jerky.
Well, so long story short, different animals have different parasites, different diseases.
I guess my point is I don't know if salt pork is. I always thought what Jeff thought. It's just like when you say salt something, that just means jerky. But I don't know if that works with pork the same way. I guess it doesn't really matter. It's bad food, not great food.
If it tasted like prosciutto, I'm all in though. Get that first thing in line. I need that on an appetizer tray.
Yeah, for the most part, pork's good.
Maybe you just maybe you just don't know. Maybe it's something you love.
Yeah, somebody let us know in the comments.
Let's try some salt pork. They also are bringing another thing to the wedding as well, and that's strangers posing as a wedding gift.
Yes, and I don't know if the hound like thought of that on his toes because the guy's like, "Where'd you get this horse?" Like that's the only thing he was interested in.
Yeah, he's like, "What the fuck's that thing doing back there?"
Yeah,
looks like a champion breed back there. How the hell you farmer get that?
And who's the hound bringing him the horse from?
Old lady went.
Old lady went. So who's that, Kyle?
The Harrenhal lady.
Yes, she this is the lady that like we've never really like seen, but we've heard of a bunch. She was the one who had Harrenhal at the start, and then like the people in King's Landing just started giving Harrenhal away to different people. And we've been to Harrenhal and she's not there. So like, where is she? I don't know. Is she pissed that she just like got her shit given away? We don't really know. This is a character that I don't think is talked about enough in the fandom. Like, what the hell is she alive? Did she die? Like,
yeah,
she's just kind of like a holding place, right? Like, just like yeah, old lady went, yeah, like whatever, like.
It's just one of the things where, like, in Winds of Winter, if she showed up, theoretically, she, like, could be really important. And she's always just, like, a passing name of, like, the person who was. But it seems like she's alive. Right? So, like, where is she? What's she doing?
Harrenhal is a Riverlands Nelson or King's.
Yeah.
And you think, like, I mean, I know Hoster was sick, but if anybody should know what's going on, it should be the Tullys with this girl. with this lady.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly. Yeah,
Maybe she's at River Run. Yeah,
I mean, maybe. I mean, Kat's mom was a Went, not this Went, but a Went. So, I mean, you'd think there'd be some connection. Also, who holds like if you were to ask Tywin, who holds Harrenhal?
Is it Littlefinger right now?
Littlefinger, right?
Littlefinger, and I guess if you asked Rob, it would be Vargo.
Probably, yeah.
I don't know if Rob really respects Vargo being.
I'm just saying those. If those
well,
he
would defer to Roose.
Those are the two armies.
Probably...
Roose, yeah, he would defer to Roose, who gave it to. Vargo.
Yeah, I gave that to Vargo.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, if Rob's like, "Whoa, why is the fucking goat in the biggest castle in the kingdom? Like, get that fucker out of there."
yeah, probably. Rob probably wouldn't love that. But the other thing is, I think when the Lannisters gave it to Littlefinger, not only did they give him the castle, they made him the Lord Paramount of the Trident. Like, he basically took the title that the Tullys have of being the head of the Riverlands and gave that to Littlefinger as well, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, it just doesn't make sense for them to keep the Tullys in charge there.
Yeah, he's just, exactly. Don't give it to, just give it to the one guy who's on your side now. Yeah. So.
The guys don't suspect anything. They're like, yeah, all right, fuck off. Like, keep going. Drop off your pork. And the Hound is like, wow, what an idiot. That guy.
I've beat that guy in tournament so many times. I almost killed him one time.
Yeah,
he doesn't even know.
He should definitely know me by now, right? Like, that's really what he's saying.
And Arya's like, what? That doesn't make any sense.
Arya's like, how did he not recognize you? Like, even like a voice, like you would. I mean, he didn't say that he disguised his voice. I'm sure he gave a little bit of a different inflection or something, but he's huge, right? Like, we know that these people, him and the Mountain, are like two of the biggest people in the kingdom.
She did say that he stole this clothes off a pretty big farmer too, though. So, like, I mean, there's more people out here, I guess, is what I'm saying. Like,
there's some other big cats walking around.
Yeah, it's not like he is the only one, but still, his explanation really sums it up, right? Like, he's not looking for him to be the Mountain or the Hound or any of that. Like, this is just some scum, you know, some peasant. I don't fuck him. I don't care about him. Like, yeah, get on your way. Like, what are you gonna do? You're just one peasant. I don't have to worry about you.
And the Hound's like, the one thing he could have recognized would have been Stranger.
But he says the Hound says he never rode straight. He didn't have Stranger in any of the tournaments where he fought that guy.
So he might not have seen him.
That's why he wouldn't know. I think the other interesting thing here is I think this I might be missing one, but I think this is the only time I've ever heard the Hound say "sir" not sarcastically. Right when he's just trying to like blend in, he's like, "Yes, sir." Like, that's just a farmer, sir.
Yeah.
Like normally he'd be like, "You bloody fucker, knight." You know,
whatever you want, sir.
Yeah, you true knight. Yeah, or like super sarcastic.
Piece of shit.
Yeah.
So, just real quick, I think this is a little callback to like Arya and Syrio, right? The whole thing. He's like, how did he become the Sea Lord of Bravos? I love this like little story he tells where the Sea Lord had this cat that he called in like all these great fighters in Bravos, and he was like, look at this crazy beast that I had brought for me from some exotic lands across the Jade Sea. What do you think about it? And everyone was like, damn, that thing is crazy. Like, that thing, does it spit venom? Does it have super long claws? But Syrio was like, no, that's just a tomcat.
It's a fucking cat.
Yeah, exactly. If there's a million, I can go get you one in the alleyways right now. And he's like telling her to just see through shit, right? So I think this is like, and Arya starts doing that. She's like, this whole chapter is her looking for like loyalists the whole time, like keeping an eye out, like looking. I wish it was daytime so I could see banners. Like she's trying to see, and the Hound is like, yeah, most people just don't think twice. They just let's see what they want to see. So I think it's kind of like a representation of the chapter a little bit.
Cool. I think that's a fair connection.
Yeah, I forgot all about that story. So yeah. All right. So. She's getting closer, right? She's like, holy shit, I'm actually getting close to the twins. But I feel like, getting more nervous as she gets closer. She says she had a nightmare the night before.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's an interesting point because she can't remember it.
Yeah.
What a tease.
Yeah, come on. We love good dream time.
Like George has talked about how he writes. I know he probably wrote like 20 different dreams and was just like, you know what?
Fuck it.
Trash can. I just give me one of them. Just pick one. Like, I'd love them all. There was a recent, I'll linger on this because it'll be a short one. There was a recent update from George on Winds of Winter, and basically he said like he gave the exact same like page count area that he gave this time last year. So a lot of people in the fandom are like, how has George made no progress in the entire year? Like he said he was 11,000 pages in, and he's 11,000 pages in, 1,100 pages in still. And it's like, how does that make sense? He just rewrites stuff. You know what I mean? I think he
He's
just like
never
literally will
finishing.
wite like 4 chapters from Arya's perspective.
Well, I
and
think
be like,
that's how writing works.
And go back and
right?
I don't know if everyone's like that. Stephen King poops out a book every month. Like he can't be doing that.
Maybe once you actually finish the book,
Editing.
maybe
Yeah.
go back through it. But at that point, I don't know. I always think like, all right, just like the process of writing a book, and then you're writing a series. Like it's too crazy. Like the planning.
Yeah, because you need to wrap
that
up
is
like story
involved.
arcs within
Yes.
the book, but then you want the overarching story arc
Right.
to not be. Yeah, so
It's crazy. It's
Not for me.
I'm not surprised he's having trouble finishing this shit up. Like it's crazy. Unless you already know like every ending that you wanted. Like if you know the means to an end, like all right, you can get there. But like as you said, he's kind of coming up with shit as he goes along, and
Well, I think I think too, like there'll be characters that like he makes up for like one little purpose, and then he turns out like really liking them and gives them like a bigger story that he didn't really have in mind for the ending at all. And he's like,
That happens in all sorts of media.
but I think he's
Yeah.
really trying to wrap those in. He's not leaving. He's really trying to like not leave loose threads. I think he's trying to make everything like.
Okay.
Again, maybe I'm just coping about why it's taking so long. But it's one of my excuses.
Yeah, a little bit.
But
probably.
that's enough suck off George time. Moving on.
all right. So she is also afraid of the Bolton. She's afraid of Roose being here because she just ran away from Roose, and she killed one of his men. And she's
Will
like,
he have
"Oh,
told
shit."
mom?
Yeah.
Does he blame Gendry? Yeah, it's like weird because
But like this guy doesn't know who any of these people are.
exactly like well she was his cupbearer. Like even with some cut hair, like they spent time together in close proximity. He would like if she when she shows up, he's gonna
But
be
does
like,
she know? Do they know that the guard? Like, how do they know that she killed the guard?
well, they stole swords and horses.
And
Like, so-
she,
Yeah, I mean, was anybody there? Did
and she
anybody see that? I
escaped.
forget.
She escaped the night that the guy died. I guess.
Yeah.
she-
Didn't she like know they were being tracked by some of the bloody mumbers because she dreamed like a Nymeria
Yes.
dream and killed some of them? So like
Yes.
she was
Nymeria
definitely being tracked.
bit the
Yeah, that's true.
Dothraki.
So she
one,
was
right?
definitely
Or-
being tracked. So
Yeah,
they definitely
yeah,
knew
yeah.
something happened. I think it would be
Okay.
obvious that the cupbearer's missing.
I think it's weird that she thinks that Roose would tell Kat, like, "Oh, my cupbearer that resembles your daughter, but in boy form."
Well, I
It's like,
think
hey, keep your eye out for this cupbearer.
I think what she's saying though is like he's gonna see me now and be like, "That's my cupbearer," and he
Yeah.
killed somebody,
Yeah.
and then and then she'll be like,
and then
"But it's
Rob would be
Arya."
like, "Shut the fuck up. That's my sister." Like, stand down, Roose.
We'll see. It'll be interesting. But I think it is like some of the things she thinks about, like, oh, will she blame me? Or like he says, like, will he blame Gendry or Hot Pie? Which does make sense. Like, she's a little girl. Yes,
Yeah.
there's a guard dead and they escaped. You'd probably assume it was the missing blacksmith with
Yeah, the
massive arms
dude,
who
the big
also went
dude,
missing. Yeah, right?
That is built of swords and knows maybe how to use one.
Yeah. I mean, she also stole like a map and dagger off his table, I think, too, right? Off Roos's table. No, again, I don't
Yeah,
think he'd be
100%.
pissed about this stuff, but I think he'd be putting pieces together.
Yeah. All right. And then we find out, you mentioned this earlier, the Hound had cut her hair again. She's curious if anybody would recognize her.
Yep. Another point I had that we kind of skipped over was when he did steal the farmer's clothes, the farmer like called him a robber or something like that. And he's like, I'm not robbing you, I'm just foraging you. Which again is a line he has stolen from the Brotherhood, right? Like that, the Brotherhood this is what they told Sandor when they stole all his shit. They're like, you haven't been robbed, you've just been good and foraged. So now the Houndor's just like like last time he gave the Brotherhood's IOU and said like, here's your knight's honor, right?
Yeah.
Now he's using their lines when he's like literally just robbing for people.
It is funny, right? Like and this kind of goes back to just the whole our perspective on the good guys thing. Even like just depends what side you're on and how it's perceived.
Exactly, they're doing the same shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So they're getting closer. They can hear some music. They can hear the river. A lot of tents set up.
Wedding's over.
Yeah, they're worried that the wedding might be, or that they missed it.
I don't think they're worried. I mean, he pretty much said it's over.
Yeah, someone says the feast is half over at one point, so I take it
Yeah.
as mid-wedding.
Do you feast before wedding? What are the wedding? You got to have the wedding first.
Yeah,
You can't.
like ceremony then reception, right? Like today.
Well,
Maybe.
I mean, I don't know. Little pre-wedding
I
breakfast.
don't know how they did
yeah.
it.
Maybe the twins do it a little different. Maybe the outside people had just been partying this whole time.
Well, yeah, probably.
They're not in the ceremony. They just been
Tailgate.
they just been receptioning the whole
Yeah, they're
time.
just tailgating the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah, the two castles are playing different songs too, which was
Yeah, bad music, like sounds horrible.
that doesn't sound too great.
Yeah, fuck this place.
She says there's thousands of men, hundreds of horses. 3 giant tents.
Yep.
A bunch of other like little smaller tents.
And more banners that she's not recognizing as she walks through.
Yeah, well, it's nighttime, so she can't even see them. She at one point she does like wish that
everything's
so
wet.
She could hopefully see some. Yeah, it's rainy. Not good.
Get a candle out.
So here's a question, right? So if the river swelled up, how do they still get to the twins, right? Like I feel like that the twins bridge has to eventually end up underwater.
It's just got to be super high.
It's got to be pretty high. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, in the last cat chapter, she said the high rains just made the moat a lake, is what Cat had said had happened. But you're right. If the river's rising, like at some point it will rise.
Like
higher.
yeah, like even if it's not the bridge itself, it's just like the roads to the bridge get washed out. Like
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it's eaten. This river is massive right now. It sounds like.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like we also get an answer to the walls question, right? Because basically when they come up here, she says they made walls out of all these wagons.
Yeah.
They literally like use a bunch of wagons to make like a fake wall.
They circled the wagons.
I don't know about that though. No. Well, these people are outside of any city wall or any castle wall.
That's just the wall of
I guess there could
outside
still
of
be
this
walls.
massive
Okay.
army that they have.
The
Like,
camp.
I'm sure there's there's still an inner wall to the wagon wall, and then there's
Maybe, yeah.
I was glad to hear that when she comes up, she describes it as like thousands and thousands, like so many men. Like, because I guess like the last it sounded like there was only a few. Like Rob was running out of people essentially, but this still makes it not as bleak. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Again, I haven't been tracking it super great, but based on what we were saying in the last cat chapter, I think Rob has about 5,000. Ruth showed up with 3,500, and I would guess the phrase are contribute like have about 2,000 to 3,000.
Okay,
So
not a ton of people either. Then okay.
altogether, maybe like 10,000, which is a good number of people.
Yeah, but not when you're fighting 15, 20. Anyway.
Yeah.
yeah, but a Northman counts for how many?
So yeah, when they get to this wagon wall, they're greeted with the next little group of guards here, and this is we don't get a name here, but Arya says they're pink cloak with blood droplets and
blood drops.
they got the Bolton sigil.
It's kind of dope. The blood drop on the doublet's pretty dope. A little added.
Kyle picked a good one. I mean, the Lord's a little weird, but it's a pretty cool
they're all a little weird.
sigil pattern.
I just like that they have like a second sigil. Like it's not just the flayed man. Oh, you see those droplets of blood? Yeah, that's Lord Bolton too.
Yeah, little background pattern.
The pink and the red's a little much too, though.
Yeah, it's a weird color scheme.
Yeah.
So these Bolton guards, Sandor gives them the same story, and they're
not buying that shit.
well, they're like the feast is like you're too late. Like sorry, like take them. Basically, they're like take them to the men.
Yeah.
Yeah, like no king wants that, but somebody out here is drunk enough they'll eat that shit. Like, come on.
Exactly. Yeah. Go find Sedgkins. He'll tell you what to do.
Sedgkins. What a name.
They let him through.
Yep.
Pretty easy. Bad security at this wedding.
But again, like I said earlier, like what's
It's security to the men. Like no one here is being protected.
Yeah.
well, like what's this dude gonna do, right? Like, I mean, even though it is the Hound, still, like, what is he gonna do?
Chop down the whole army.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so they keep walking through, and she does recognize her first sigil.
Yep. I think this is cool. So she says that some of the tents are made of silk. Not most, but like 1 in 25, I think is what she says. For every one that was, it's 24 that weren't. Is made of silk. So all the lights inside make it glow. She says like a magic lantern. But you can just like imagine kind of like a big Christmas light, right? Like, because it's glowing from the inside. And it illuminates the sigil. So the one is yellow, and she sees the Smallwood sigil. Lady Smallwood was one of the people she stopped out with the Brotherhood. But I just like kind of like this picture of like mostly all these dark tents, like just like basically black mounds, and just like 1 in 25 like lit up like bright pink or blue or green or yellow or whatever. But as she's walking through, she's looking for pretty much anything familiar.
Well, she's about to like she's trying to like run, right? She's like, fuck it, like first chance I get someone that I trust, I might be out of here.
Yeah. Want to read that little quote, Jeff?
Arya twisted and turned, trying to look everywhere at once, hoping for a glimpse of a direwolf badge, for a tent done up in gray and white, for a face she knew from Winterfell. All she saw were strangers. She stared at a man relieving himself in the reeds, but he wasn't ale-belly. She saw a half-dressed girl burst from a tent laughing, but the tent was pale blue, not gray like she thought at first. And the man who went running after her wore a tree cat on his doublet, not a wolf. Beneath a tree, 4 archers were slipping wax strings over the notches of their longbows, but they were not her father's archers. A maester crossed their path, but he was too young and thin to be Maester Lewin. Arya gazed up at the twins, their high tower windows glowing softly wherever a light was burning. Through the haze of rain, the castles looked spooky and mysterious, like something from one of Old Nan's tales, but they weren't Winterfell.
Yeah. So again, like Arya, I feel like this is like a so close like moment, but this is like it's never gonna be the same again, right? Like even though you're almost back with your family, like Ale, isn't he dead? He either died.
I think most of these people are dead
in the Ironborn attack, or it's kind of
he was the guy that he drowned, right, in his own blood, or did he fall in the well? He was one of the guys that was prophesied to die.
That's what I was wondering. Sure. He might have been the one that drowned. Yeah. Yeah, Fat Tom was the other one I was thinking of. Yeah. So this kind of reminds me, I think there was like a moment like where Bran was thinking of like how the people that came for the Harvest Feast, like early in book 2, was that? They're just like, those people are not the same people that used to be around. Like when he was thinking of all the people that went south with Ned that were never coming back because of all that shit, he's like, this is what we got now. And Arya's thinking of the people that Bran was thinking of, like, this is who we got now. And even those people,
the tier 2s, tier 3,
like Lewin, Ale, right? These people. So yeah, kind of just like, I feel like it's just another one of those. We just keep losing, like you said, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3.
Yeah. So we pop into the beer tent next, see what's going on inside.
Yeah, they're wondering by Arya here's a few little toasts. Lord Edmure,
and his wife,
King Robb, Queen Jean.
Who's Queen Jean?
What? Jane? What are you talking about? Jean.
we literally had this conversation for like 5 minutes the last time. We can't do this again.
It's not even close to being Jean. There's a Y. Why would it? Stop it.
Jane.
That's what Arya. It just sounds better. But that's what Arya's saying. Who's Jean? She's like, who's Queen Jean? I never heard of this lady before.
Yeah, who the fuck's
that's what Arya's thinking. So when Arya said Queen Jean, you know what else I was thinking about? Arya was
she didn't, because she said Queen Jane, but
Arya was promised to marry a Frey. Like that was part of the original deal.
It was, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So like,
what's your point?
Arya's about to show up.
Is she supposed to get married next?
Here's
slap
who
a
you're
ring.
Married
Perfect.
To.
Yes.
Let's have another one. Run it back.
Yeah, we can fix some more wrongs. You know.
I don't know. I feel like this one it might be a little fresh for now, though. That's where I'm at on that.
I was just thinking like maybe Arya should just wait until Robb's out, moving north, and then meet up with him.
She doesn't know how she's not in charge of this situation.
I know. But just something to think about. So yeah, Arya's like, where are we going? Like, because they passed the beer tent. She's like, where are we going? We were supposed to find a guy named Sedgkins. And the Hound's basically like, fuck Sedgkins. I'm taking you to one person and one person only. We're going to Robb.
I'm finding your brother.
Yeah, he's pretty much like, what, you think I was gonna like? I'm here to actually deliver this meat.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck about Sedgkins. Yep.
So yeah, I mean,
that's
really he just uses that as cover, right? Like that's really all that situation is. And then he's like, all right, well, we're through the gates. We're allowed inside. Nobody's asking what we're doing anymore. Like we're part of this mess because I'm sure there's nobody that has the head count on everything, right? Like
no, not out here.
There's no guest list. There's too many.
He's just some dude.
Well, there is a guest list, not out.
Maybe on the inside,
at the outer tents.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, he's pretty much infiltrated perfectly cleanly here. I don't think anybody's any the wiser. But like, how does he get inside? I don't have a good answer for that. I mean, he's already said he doesn't want to cut through a whole bunch of people. He said he does. He just wants to get to Robb, pretty much.
Well, he does have one big chip once he gets super close. That should
Arya.
But he does say something in this chapter.
Like once he gets close enough. Once he gets close enough, not like when it's like the last door.
Yeah, and yes and no though. Like right, like he's taken in a whole bunch of money, right? Like essentially, he's got a bag full of money, and he's like, "This is going to buy my freedom." But why don't they just? There's enough people here. Why don't they just say, "No, just give us the money. No, give us Arya."
Exactly. Like I don't know if I quite agree with Jeff's like once you get close enough, and I think that's what the Hound's thinking.
Well, he's gonna take her in at gunpoint. He's gonna take her in at dagger point.
We've talked about this before.
I'll slit her throat right now if you don't pay me.
I'm just saying, like, say Robb's inside a room and Great John is on the door, and the Hound comes up with Arya. Is he gonna be like, "Hey, Great John, look who I have," or is he gonna be like, "Can I talk to Robb?" and then reveal? You know what I mean? Because if he says, "Hey, Great John, I have Arya," I think it's like Hound is in chains immediately. You know what I mean? He never even sees Robb.
Yeah, but he's not getting into Robb's company without using that chip.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the trick. But I think he's thinking about that. That's what he's worried about here.
He also seems smart too. Yeah. He seems pretty good at what he's doing here, right? Like this doesn't seem like he's out of his element.
He's got a plan.
He's a seasoned hostage taker.
I mean, he seems good at least knowing how to deal with these people in this situation. That's all I'm saying. Like this doesn't like to just steal this horse and be like, oh yeah, I'm just delivering this shit up here. Yeah, like okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll take it to Sedgwick. Yep, going right in. Okay, boss.
Yeah, he's dealt. I'm sure he's been in front of enough doors to know like what has gone past people.
True.
Like what bullshit has gone by.
I don't know. I'm interested to see how he gets in the castle though. I don't have a good like other than just him doing more talking. I don't have a good answer. I don't know.
Okay, well I think we might find out relatively soon. Did you see the next chapter?
I didn't. You always yell at me. He's a Catelyn. Yeah, it's Catelyn. So yeah,
It's Catelyn. We're back. I mean, at the end of the chapter, I always say, or at the end of the podcast, I always say what the next one is. So I don't think it's at least knowing what the next one is a spoiler, because I say,
I know, I was just
see you later,
giving you a hard
Kyle,
time.
and now on to the see you on the next one for Catelyn, and then
You
I
don't know the
what
number, then I guess. Usually I'm pretty close. Like this one's gonna be Cat 8.
Cat 7.
God damn it.
Kyle, did you have anything else before we just do the sign off?
not really. I mean, this one not too much happened.
Exactly. Yep. All right. Well, we'll see you on the next one for Catelyn.
Although, oh no, I did actually have one thing. And it was to say it was kind of about my prediction before. So it sounds like the wedding went well, or at least like nothing.
They made it to the reception.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. It just seemed the last time I didn't trust Frey, right? So,
Rosalind didn't leave him at the altar.
Yeah, maybe it happened. Maybe
No,
everything
I
was
object.
normal and- well, I thought maybe he was going to pull out a Rosalind number 2 or something like that on the second day, or yeah, like oh yeah, you thought you were marrying her, like no, now you got to marry this lady, or something. Who knows? So
Yeah.
I have 2 Rosalinds.
doesn't yeah, he's probably got 1,000 in there, right?
Yeah.
So like exactly that I never knew what I was going to get with him. So it seems from the outside we have very little information about it, but it seems like they made it here at the very least.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
So all right.
All right, cool. Well, we'll see Kyle in the next one for Catelyn 7, and we'll see the rest of you guys on the sports section. Bye, Kyle.
Bye, Kyle.
Later, nerds.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Bye, Kyle.
Bye, Kyle.
See you on the next one, which will be a big one.
Oh, God.
I'm glad we
I'm
got
not
the whole
even
way
ready.
without spoiling it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It was pretty cool.
Good job by us.
Good pat on the back, us and Glow.
Fuck Glow.
He was in halfway to here, and he didn't spoil it. You know what I mean? He
Fuck
could have spoiled
Glow.
it episode 4.
He probably
That's what he
just
probably did. Kyle just
glossed
didn't
over
notice. Yep. All right, let's get to this chapter real quick. It'll be a short one.
I don't have much, yeah.
Arya
I
had
really
a
only have
dream.
one. I think we even talked about. Well, yeah, that's a big one. I wish we knew more about it.
Yeah. It has to be like Nymeria dream. The thing is, Arya has a very important dream very soon. Nymeria pulls Kat's body out of the river.
Oh, right. Is that the last chapter of the book?
I think the last chapter of the book is Sansa. Well, no, the last chapter of the book is Merritt Frey. Epilogue is Merritt Frey going to Old Stones and meeting the Blood Without Banners. I think that's relatively soon. Like that's while she's still with the Hound, I think. But yeah, it doesn't super matter. We'll get to it at some point or another. But it makes me wonder, like, what is the dream about here? Like, what's Nymeria doing here? I guess just leading the wolf pack, probably doing some badass shit. Is it not a wolf dream? Is it some type of like brand dream? Who knows? We'll never know. I just think it's interesting to think about.
Wish you just had a little bit of it. Like, even if we knew it was her in her own body, or if it was a wolf dream, or any detail of it all. Like, at least I remember that I was in the twins for this one, and I could see my mom and Rob. Like, something like that would have been better than just nothing at all.
And kind of like I was saying in the non-spoiler, I do think this chapter is kind of like about like Arya trying to see things, but she doesn't see it. Like she even says it in some of the quotes. Like there's men stringing crossbows at a feast. Yeah. Why are they stringing bows at or maybe not crossbows, longbows? Why are they stringing bows at a feast? Right, there are some like weird things going on that like she should be on edge about.
I mean, the biggest one I have is she notices that the music is awful.
Music is awful. They're not on the same page in the two different towers.
Which, I mean, that doesn't shock me. It'd be a lot harder to be playing the same song at the exact same time. How many football fields apart from each other?
True, I guess, but it alludes to the fact that like. I guess it maybe alludes to the fact that the singers in the actual Red Wedding Castle aren't real singers.
I didn't think anything of them playing two different songs.
Okay.
In the two different towers. Just because it's far apart.
It's just weird because I did start reading the next Cat, like the Red Wedding chapter, and there was a part where Cat thinks like Lord Walder must be deaf I don't know if it's because of the different songs or just because the music's so bad, but the Hound says something similar in this chapter.
But again, there's the two outer towers, and then they're in the middle of the bridge in this like building, right?
I don't think so. I think that the feast is in the furthest tower from Arya, and I think at the closer tower to Arya is the bastard feast. That might be backwards, though. I don't actually know which one. Basically, all the bastard children go to one of the towers, and that's where they celebrate the reception. They're not with Rob and everybody. Rob and everybody are at the normal feast in the other tower.
Gotcha.
But like at one point, Kat says like, "Oh, I wonder if some of the people were sneaking off to go see if the bastards were having more fun." Right. So people were kind of like going between to see like, "Oh, where's the party popping off and shit like that."
Yeah. All right. I don't know. Yeah, I thought they were in the spot where because weren't they like being like stayed up in like this middle section of the bridge?
Yeah, exactly. They're living in the water tower, which is the middle tower in the middle. But I don't actually know where the Red Wedding is. I'm sure we'll find out next chapter.
All right, what else you got? Lady Went stuff, I'm sure.
I actually don't have anything for Lady Went. The next one was a little quote. The music grew still louder as they approached the castle, but under that was a deeper, darker sound. The river, the swollen green fork, growling like a lion in its den.
Yeah, I had that one too. Yep.
Lannisters, lion and den, right? Obviously.
Yeah, they fucked us. They fucked it all.
And then again, sometimes I like reading the quote that I think has a big spoiler in it to Kyle, and I had you read it this one. And again, not a big spoiler. We kind of mentioned it already, but beneath a tree, 4 archers were slipping wax strings over the notches of their longbows, but they were not her father's archers. Again, it's kind of slipped in with all this, and I think what I did say in the non-spoiler is true. There's like a lot of like things aren't the same anymore. All the Winterfell people are gone. This isn't the home I know, and I think it's also a little bit of a so close, right? There's all these things that I'm seeing that look like they could be the thing I remember from Winterfell, but yet so far away, because even though you are right next, and it's like the same thing with her and Rob, she's so close, but yet we know she's not going to make it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not shocked that like, I mean, I read the chapter and like, I didn't think much of them like getting ready to attack.
Yeah.
Just because like, if you're
in
outside,
a camp. You're in a war camp.
Yeah, like, hey, let's have a shoot off. They're basically playing darts with their crossbows. You know,
every time Sam walks by a camp in the Night's Watch, there's people with bows, even though there's not a murder about to take place.
Right. They're not mass genocide or mass homicide.
Mass murder. Yeah. And then the last thing I had was the last line of the chapter.
I'm going to see your brother.
It's your bloody brother I want.
He is bloody.
Do you remember what I said the last line of the last Arya chapter was? We talked about it in that one.
And the last one of what?
The last Arya chapter we had besides this one. Very last line. Like Arya has just learned that they're going to the Twins and not back to King's Landing. So he's like, if you shut up and do what I say,
if you shut up, we might actually get to see your brother before the wedding.
We might make it for your uncle's bloody wedding.
Yeah.
So he says, your uncle's bloody wedding, and literally the last lines of the last chapter. This is the last lines are this Arya. See your bloody brother. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're giving us the hints for sure. It's there.
I kind of want to like try and go back. I don't know if I'm gonna have time for this before we do the next one, but I kind of want to like go back and try and find some of like the biggest Red Wedding spoilers, like maybe those last 2 lines or some of that, like, and just like to hit Kyle with and be like, look how. I mean, Kyle's pretty on it. He's even like, damn, I'm surprised the wedding was going so well. Even me and you thought after the last cat chapter, he thought something was sus with the phrase. But it didn't seem like, at least from what he was saying, that he thought it was immediately something bad was going to happen. It seemed like more he thought like long term.
That they were going to, like, I don't think he thinks Kat's going to die. Like, I don't think that's even close to his mind.
Yeah, like he even said, he's like, maybe there's a bride swap. It's not a bride swap bad. It's literally the whole North plot line is done after next chapter, pretty much. So, which I think is going to be great for, maybe not great, but like maybe devastating. I was also wondering, like, should I like text Kyle's wife and be like, hey, keep an eye out next time we're about to podcast when Kyle reads,
when he's reading,
just to see if there's any
film his reaction.
Because I don't think Kyle would. Like, we know Kyle, he's not the most reactionary person, but like
some
people say they like threw the book across. Some people say they like threw their book across the room when they read this for the first time and stuff. So
nah, I don't think Kyle's that. I don't think he's that. But he's not like emotionally invested either. Like he's kind of like, I think he is invested now, but he's not an emotional person to be that emotionally invested. It's not like he like really likes Rob or Cat, you know?
Exactly. Well, the thing that I was going to say is the last time we got a cat chapter, even though it was like kind of a nothing chapter, I think it was like when they were just like walking through the rain. He was, and I was like, yeah, this chapter's kind of He was actually said, I actually like this chapter because it feels like we're back to the main story.
Yeah.
He's like, I feel like Rob and Cat are the main story. So I think it might be interesting if that's actually how he still feels. Like I said, that storyline ends. Like it's done next chapter.
I definitely think the next book is gonna be, just because it's all that like dark, like Aryan Hotard or like it's a lot different. The POVs really change from the
it's
north
almost like
to
completely different stories.
You're all over the people. Yeah.
Yeah.
So all right.
Yeah, that was all I had. That was the last one. Was the ending of the
Lock
chapter.
it up.
So we'll see you guys in the next one for the big one. Oh, also, we did say that the Red Wedding was going to come out on Christmas. It's not. It's going to come out the week after Christmas, which isn't a big deal because it's still New Year's Day, right? It still comes out on like a holiday. So, but yeah, I was out of town a lot, so I messed up some editing, didn't make it in time.
Yeah, you're the worst. It's okay.
It's on me. That's why we're not making it. But don't worry, it'll be Red Wedding chapter comes out on Christmas or on New Year's. Today's Christmas. This will come out on Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Sorry, we probably
or Happy Hanukkah or
yeah, whatever
Happy
you celebrate.
Kwanzaa,
Happy holidays.
celebrate.
Yeah. But
Happy holidays.
Yeah, maybe we should have said that at the start, but that's not how my brain works. So we'll see you guys in the next one for the New Year's Red Wedding episode. It would have been perfect if that was Purple Wedding, because the Purple Wedding does take place on the first day of the new year in book.
We'll be there soon enough.
But sorry, we didn't time that out. We'll see you guys in the next one. Red Wedding.
That'll be
get the
Easter.
tissues out. Bye bye.